Once again, I would like to thank each one of you for joining the webinar. Welcome you all. I, Zaira Madina Zaid, will be hosting the webinar on types of computer language and introduction to Python. And to everyone, those who don't know about us, we are from Elma Matters. And to just before starting the webinar, let me just give a brief about our company. The webinar is organized by Elma Matter, and Elma Matter is a premier solution provider on human capital optimization. And if you see, our forte lies in various things, like we are into KPO, we are into training, we are into staffing and recruitment solutions. So the company Elma Matter was established in the year 2004, and after that, till date, we have trained over 500,000 individuals. Training so many people, we understood it's a really good number, but we would definitely like to grow it much more. And that's the reason we are all set today for a global multi-industry service provider. We set apart by delivering high-quality core processes, conscious leadership, creative solutions, and we have a very unique culture. Now you can understand that this incredible success has inspired us to create a strong support system for individuals which would help them to create their own future. Now for that, one of the things that we have launched is Sparks, a support program aimed at raising knowledge and skill. The motive of Spark is to give individuals exposure to various skills that will help them identify their own specialization and make their future filled with health, wealth, and happiness. Now, apart from this, we are specialized into various things, like you can see on the screen: career planning, career assessment, career counseling, career guidance, coaching and mentoring, skill development workshop, training and development, placement assistance, and online. These are some of the things that Alma Mater specializes into. As we understand, all this plays a very important role in every part of a student's future. So anytime anybody wants to understand or they are stuck with their own career, we have a solution for that. Now, if you see, what we do is apart from all this career assessment, we also have different programs to help people. We understand people have their own challenges, they understand differently, they learn differently, and therefore we specialize in few programs. Like we have 4-dimension workshop, which actually corresponds to understand what kind of intelligence you as an individual have. As you can see on the screen, all these have different kinds of intelligence. Everyone learns in a different way. And to support all this, we actually have different programs. And if you want to keep it very simple, don't want to attend any program, but still understand about yourself, we have psychometric tests. So sit it in a quiet place where no one can disturb you and attend this test. There will be questions, and again, these questions will have different kinds of options, or you can say different types of answers that you have to select according to your understanding. And once you complete the test, it will tell you exactly what kind of a learner you are. All these details are available on our websites and our social media pages. You can go and visit them, and if you have any questions, you can contact us. We have already shared such details on our comment box. So this is just the background of what we have. We will be continuing with all the efforts that we are carrying out. But one of the efforts we are carrying out right now is that every week we are trying to get some new topic and train students through the webinar. And coming to today's webinar, as you all know, is on the topic Types of Computer Languages and Introduction to Python, which will be presented by our ma'am. Sorry, there's some technical issues. I apologize. Okay, so for today's webinar, as the topic suggests, for that we have Bhuvneshwari ma'am. Hello ma'am. We welcome you to the webinar.
Hi, Zaira. Thank you.
And to everyone who want to know something more about ma'am, ma'am has done her BSc and Masters in Computer Science. Ma'am has completed 6 months in web designing course. Ma'am has more than 2 years of teaching experience as well. If we talk about ma'am's project, ma'am has completed 5 projects mentioned on the screen. Guess the Python number, Python translator, student data management, online shopping, remote desktop monitoring, and smart helmet. I'm telling all these things so that the students know that how well achieved ma'am is in her field. Apart from all this, ma'am is also expert in technical skills of programming languages, Python, Java, web designing languages, PHP, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Even after achieving all these achievements in her life, ma'am has published her paperwork related to IoT on IEE and another paperwork on American Journal, National Level Journal. Right, ma'am. Ma'am, we are very glad to have you on board with us. Now over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Zaira. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, Zaira, can you add me as a co-host?
Yeah, ma'am, just a minute. I think you are the co-host, ma'am. You can share the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Are you able to see my screen?
No, ma'am, actually not. Yeah, now it has started sharing.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you all?
Good, madam.
Good. Okay, so nice to meet you all. This is Bhuvneshwari. So in today's webinar, we are going to see about Python. Okay, are you all ready? Shall we start?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so if you have any doubts, means you can ask everything in the chat box. And if you want to have a voice chat, means you can even do that. Okay, don't feel shy, don't fear. Whatever you have doubts, you can ask me directly. Okay, so in today's webinar, right? So in today's webinar, we are going to see about the Python. Okay, I'm going to give you some brief introduction about Python and its application and we are going to discuss some basic concepts like how the programming languages evolved. What are the things we need to know about the programming languages? So we are going to have some basic concepts on that. Okay. So does anybody can tell me what is a program? You might have heard that C, C++, Java, Python, or Ruby. Many programming languages you might have heard. Can you tell me what is a program? What is a code? Why do we need that? Anybody? You can even
Program is,
tell-
is an instruction given to a computer to do a work or task.
Yeah, very good. So we need a program to give some instruction to a computer. Simply, I can't go to the computer and talk, hey computer, calculate 2 plus 4. I can't say like that. So we need some interface like this to do some, to give some instruction to the computer. For that, we need a program. Okay. So then, how can we do that? How can we instruct the computer?
We can instruct a computer through commands.
Okay. And then by writing codes. Guy Fabro. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yeah. By writing codes and by using programming languages. We are going to do coding, but how can we do the coding? We can do the coding by using the programming languages. Okay. So these are the 3 types of programming languages we might have here during our school days and academic days and all. Okay, so programming is and high level language. Does anybody know what is a machine language?
The language that machine understands.
The language that machines understand. What the machine can understand. You might have heard that the machine can understand only zeros and ones.
Binary
Does any of-
numbers. Binary digits, 0 and 1.
Yeah, why the machine can understand only zeros and ones? Any ideas?
The Turing machine, ma'am?
Turing machine?
Because
Okay.
computer understands binary language.
Yeah, computer understand binary language, but why? Can understand only zeros and ones. Why it can't understand 2, 3, 4, 5 and all? Understand ABCD. Okay, to answer that question, I'm again asking you one more question. What is a computer? What is a computer?
Computer is an electronic device.
Yeah, it's an
Used-
electronic device. Yeah, of course. Even I will go to the first standard class. If I ask them, they will tell me the computer is an electronic machine. Yes, they will tell me like that. So since it is an electronic machine, it is running by current. Computer is a device we use to do tasks that are complex. Okay, guys, fabulous. That's one of the thing. Okay, so our computer can understand zeros and one. It's just because it's an electronic device. Whatever we do in the computer, everything is done in the CPU. The CPU is a circuit which is running by the electricity. Which is running by electricity. Am I right? A computer works on electricity, right? Whatever we do, it sends some electrical signals. So whenever it is sending the electrical signals, it will send some 0 volt or 5 volt. The people separated that as the 5 volt as high voltage and 0 volt as low voltage. Since it is tough to have high and low, they have translated that high voltage as 1 and 0 voltage as the number 0, so that only the computer can understand zeros and one. Are you able to get what I'm trying to say?
Excuse me, ma'am. That's why 0 is considered as the off and 1 is considered as on.
On, yeah. Whenever if you type letter A in your computer, it will send some signals, some electrical signals like 100001. Okay. Whenever your CPU receives that, it will translate that. Okay, they are pressing A, so we have to show A in our screen. Likewise. Okay, that's why we are telling the computer can understand only zeros and ones. Okay. So since we are having zeros and ones, it is very difficult to do some coding. Even if I want to add some 2 plus 3, I have to do it in a machine language, like in a zeros and one format, like 0010 plus 0011. Okay. So to avoid that, they have come up with a new programming language like assembly language. Okay. So in assembly language, what we can do is instead of giving the machine instruction, the assembly language uses our human language, like our English language. If I want to add two numbers, I can add 2 plus 3. I can give the command like assembly language commands like add, sub, divide, multiply, load. Likewise, I can give some assembly language commands there. Okay. Machine language and assembly language both are considered as a low level language. Okay. The assembly language will then translate it into machine language. Afterwards, whenever we are using the machine language and assembly language, we have to assign a memory element manually. And it takes lots and lots of coding, and for doing complex operations and all, it becomes very difficult to do. So that they come up with a high level language. Okay. Okay, are you clear?
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
To avoid the numerous number of codings and complex operations and all, we have come up with a high level language, which is the same like our English language. Okay. The high level language is a portable one. The machine language and assembly language is not a portable one. It is not an independent one. It dependent on the machine. Okay. If you are doing some code in assembly language and machine language, that will work on that platform which you have worked. It will not work on another platform. Like if you have worked assembly language in Windows, it will not work on Linux. Okay, so this is not platform dependent. So we need something that platform independent, which can be portable from one device to another device, and which will be easy to do our task. And it must be do some complex operations and all. So we come up with the high level language, which is similar to our human speaking language. Okay. So the high level language will be translated into machine language. Not only the high level language, the assembly language will also translate it into the machine language. Okay. For translating high level language to machine language, we will be using some compiler or interpreter. Okay. Do you know what is a compiler?
That converts our language into computer language.
Yeah, the compiler and interpreter will convert the high level language into the machine language. Compilers are not IDE. It's a built-in software that comes with your system. And for C++ and all, you might be downloading G++ and Ming GW compilers to compile your program. So the compilers, what the compilers will do is, are you clear? Is Fabro? Okay. So the compiler, if you give the compiler your high level language, which means whatever the language might be, the C, C++, whatever it is, if you give it to the compiler, it will translate everything all at once. Okay, which means I'm speaking in Hindi and another people speaking in English. I don't know English, they don't know Hindi. So I'm having some translator in front of me and I'm asking them to translate whatever I'm saying. Okay. So instead of translating line by line, what they are doing is I'm telling them what are the contents and all at once, and they are translating everything at once and give the instruction to these people who is speaking in English. Okay. Likewise, our compiler will compile all the codings, all the part of the program all at once and find the errors. After compiling, we can execute the program. Okay. After that, it will execute the program and produce the executable file. What our interpreter will do is, if I'm saying one line, the translator will translate the line and give it to the other person. Afterwards, I will be saying another line. He will translate the line and give it to the another person. Okay, so it will act like it will run the code line by line. If it sees the error, what it will do is it will stop there and show the error. After we rectify the error, it will jump on to the next thing. Spanish, please. Sorry, I don't know Spanish. Ronnie Singh, ma'am, can you explain Hindi and English both language? Actually, Ronnie Singh, I don't know Hindi. The thing is, I don't know Hindi. Okay.
Yeah, at the end, what we can do is this, whatever questions are there, we can write answer in Hindi, right? Once you have, just keep your questions ready. So
Yeah.
at the end, we will try to answer. I'll try to answer in Hindi, or like we will have Zaira who can also help us.
Is it okay, Ronnie Singh?
Hello?
Ronnie Singh, are you there? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So next we are jumping into the Python. So I hope you have some idea about the programming languages and what are the things going on in the background. Okay, so next we are going to jump into the Python. So first thing, the Python was developed by Guido van Rossum and released in the year 1991. So when he was developing the Python, he was a very big fan of Monty Python show, which is held by BBC. Okay, after watching the show, and he became the fan of that. So he took the Python from Monty Python and naming his programming languages as Python. Okay. So, and Python is a general purpose language and high level programming language. So I have told you that what is a high level programming language and this and all. A general purpose language in the sense it can be used anywhere. Like we can use it to build a web application. We can use it to build artificial intelligence applications, like business applications. Okay, so we can do everything with Python. So it's called a general purpose language. And it is easy for beginners to use. So if you're going to start, can we use it to do the game? Yes, of course, we can use it to do the games. We can use Python for game development. Okay, so if you're going to start your programming journey, if you want to learn something easy, you can start your programming journey by Python. Just because when comparing with other programming languages, Python can be easily understandable. It's like we are speaking with the system. How we talk with people, how we interact with people, likewise our programming language, and you can easily learn that. And Python is an interpreter language. Just before the slide, I have explained what is the interpreter, what is the compiler. Does any of you tell me what is the interpreter?
Interpreter translate the line by line.
Yeah, translate the code line by line. Okay, very good. And Python is dynamically typed language. Dynamically typed language in the sense, if you have worked with C, C++, and Java, what we have to do is we have to declare the type of the data. Data in the sense, name, age, everything is data, right? So if it is a number, means we have to give it as an integer. If it's a whole number, you might have heard in the max whole numbers, real numbers likewise. The whole numbers in programming languages will be considered as integer. The real numbers, which means the point numbers, will be considered as the float. Okay. Likewise, if you are going to use some single letter, it can be considered as a character. And if you are going to use some set of letters like a sentence or a word, it can be considered as a string in the programming languages. So in other programming languages, what we have to do is when we are going to use some variables or some values, some data in the programming languages, we have to define which data type it is, whether it is an integer or float or character or string. So if we are defining it manually, that type of languages can be called as statically typed language. In dynamically typed language, what we have to do is, instead of giving the name, we have to name equal to, for example, you can take my name equal to Bhuvaneshwari. Okay, it's a string. So when the program gets running, the Python will automatically decide whether it is a string or integer or float by seeing the value. So that is what called a dynamically typed language.
Ma'am, what is float?
The floats are point numbers.
Okay, that's
5.6, 7.8, likewise.
okay.
Okay, so and if you are going to do some programs in Python, we are going to print a string, we are going to add some numbers. When comparing with Java programs, the Python programs will be shorter. Just because when we are doing Java programs, what we have to do is we have to include all the header files, and we have to include a main function, and inside the main function we have to declare a variable, and after declaring the variable we have to define the type and all. So when comparing with Java programs, the same program can be done in Python in a shorter version. Okay, then Python is the object oriented language. Object oriented language in the sense, the language which are considered as an object-oriented language will see everything in the world as a real-world objects. For example, if it sees a person, it will see the person as an object. If it sees a dog, it is an object. Okay, if it sees a car, it is an object. So what is the use of object-oriented programming language is that it will be useful to do some complex operation easier. When comparing with functional and procedural languages, object-oriented languages will make our programs easier, and even if it is a very complex program, we can do it very easily. Okay? And it provides security to the data. The object-oriented language provides security to the data. We can encapsulate the data, we can hide the data without showing details to the others, which can be done using only object-oriented programming language. Next, what we are going to see is we are going to see about Python application. Are you clear with the introduction to Python? Do you have any doubts?
No, madam. Thank you.
Next, Python application. The Python can be used to make web development, like with the use of some frameworks or with the use of some libraries, we can do web development application using Python. So the frameworks which will be used for web developments are Django, Pyramid, Flash. Okay, and we can do game development with Python. So for creating game in Python, we can use Pygame. Okay, it's a library. So with the help of that, we can create a game using Python. And we can use Python in machine language and artificial intelligence. Like for last webinar, you might have seen the data science webinar, right? So there we can use the Python. Okay. And our Python can be used in data visualization, data science, and desktop application. Like we are using some applications in our system, WPS Office, some other application. Whatever we are doing in our using in our system, we can create that using the Python with the help of Kiwi, PyQt, and Tkinter. You might have heard these frameworks. At least you might have heard this in the YouTube. Whenever you are searching for Python, these kinds of things will be shown or they will be suggested. And we can use Python for web scraping application with the help of beautiful SOAP library. Web scraping in the sense for data science projects, we will be using some data sets. So for gathering data from web, we can use the web scraping. What it will do is it will pull the data from the web, okay, with the help of beautiful. And we can use Python for business applications like e-commerce application and embedded applications in the sense we can use the Python with Raspberry Pi. You might have heard Raspberry Pi, Arduino and all. So in Raspberry Pi, we can embed C program and with Python, and we can include that in the Raspberry Pi. Afterwards, we can use the Raspberry Pi as a whole computer system. It can be considered as a whole computer system. So we can embed a Python in the Raspberry Pi. And for audio video application like music player or video player, we can do that by using the Python. And image processing. In artificial intelligence and machine learning, you might have seen an advertisement that Tesla has launched a car. What it will do is it will the automatic driving car. Okay, for that what we need is we need an image processing application there. So it will see the image. If it sees the red light, the car will stop. If it sees the green light, it will continue driving. So for that, we are using Python with the help of OpenCV, Pillow, SimpleI, TK. Okay, are able to understand the Python applications? Any doubts there?
No doubts, madam.
Okay. So next we are having what is the difference between low level language and high level language? Okay. So difference between low level and high level language in the sense we can use the low level language in a certain platform. Like I'm going to do program in the Windows. I'm using the 64-bit processor, and for doing the coding, I'm using assembly language or machine language. I can't import that program to another platform like which is using the Linux or which is using Mac OS. So that is one difference. What our high level language will do is we do the program in Windows and we can easily import that to Linux based system. So it is a portable and platform independent, but low level languages are platform dependent and they are not portable. Yeah, are you able to understand now?
Miss, please once again explain the low-level language and high-level language.
Okay. The low-level language is a platform. Okay. Low-level languages are platform dependent. Okay. If you do the program or if you do some coding in Windows and 64-bit operating system, you can work the code in the Windows and the 64-bit operating system only. You cannot do the same code or you cannot make the same code to work in the Linux based system or the Mac OS based system just because they are platform dependent. Okay. So the high level languages are platform independent. I can work the high level language programs from anywhere. Okay. I can work in my system. I can just move that from my system to another system. It is portable and it can be used anywhere without doing any changes. But low level language, if I'm going to use the low level language code to Linux based system, I have to make some changes according to the platform. That is the difference between low level and high level. Yeah, low level is machine dependent, high level is machine independent. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for doing Python programs, we need to have some Python IDE like setup. Okay. So for Python IDE, you can visit python.org/downloads. From there, you can download your Python version. So if you're going to download a Python version from this website, while installing or while running the code, okay. So while running the code, just check the add the Python path to the environment variables checkbox so that you can install other libraries like in the previous slide I have shown you some libraries like, so you can install it from your command prompt if you're going to use this one. And afterwards you can download Anaconda Navigator. From there you can get access to Spider and Jupyter IDE, which can be used for Python. The Jupyter IDE will very much be useful for machine learning and data science if you're going to learn those things. Okay. So if you don't like to work with Anaconda, Python, Spider, if you feel like you're in Amazon forest, you can jump on to the another IDE like PyCharm. Okay, you can download the community version from there. So if you want to download professional version, that's up to you. But I'll suggest you to download community version. So that is enough for the beginner level Python thing. And one more thing is Google Colab. You might have heard about this. It's an online platform for doing Python. Okay, these are the things you can download or you can use through online while working with Python. Next, we are getting into Python variables and data types. So we are going to start programming after this slide, so you can understand it very clearly. Okay. Python variables. A variable is a storage container that stores the value in the memory. So I told you, right, we are going to use some dynamically typed language. Even so, name equal to Bhuvaneshwari. I want to access the name somewhere after that. What I need to do is I need to store that. For that, we are using here variables here. Like whenever we go for shopping, like grocery shopping, not the dresses and all. I'm talking about grocery shopping. What we will do is we'll buy some products, and after come home, we'll store it in some container. Why so? Do you have any idea? Why do you need to store it in the container? Why do we need a container to store all the grocery items? Any ideas?
To safely keep it.
It's convenient to use if it is stored in a container. The material, if the material like sugar is in the container, that we know that this container is for the sugar. Then whenever I need to make anything like halwa, if someone want to make a sweet or halwa, then he or she can use that sugar from that container.
Yeah, so it can be easily accessed. And if I want to change something, means I can easily take the sugar from the container and put some salt in the container. I can easily label that. So with the help of the label, I can easily find out and access that. Am I right? So likewise, our variables also work in the programming languages. For what we are going to use the variables, we have integer values, float values, string values. We are having many values, many kinds of values, many types of values. So we need to store that. If we don't store that, we can't access that whenever we need it. So we need a variables in our programming languages. So data types I have already explained, like integer, float and all. So I think I don't need to repeat that. Do you want me to repeat the data types? If you want, I can repeat that. Yes, no. No. Okay. So we are going to start coding now.